for a woman or a man, you're not supposed to pluck because you are created like that. So you're not allowed to pluck your eyebrows.
You're not supposed to change a
Yeah,
thing
you're not supposed to
about
change how God made you unless you have something like a deformity.
Angawacha hatuhesabu watoto lakini niko na watoto more than 100.
I was sleeping and maybe I was calming my mind. Then out of nowhere I could see my body floating somewhere. So like I'm floating somewhere, but I can see my body. Yes, there in bed.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm Hafsa Abdullahi and I'm a Muslim from Nyeri.
I'm Mongi Maina from Ranga County and I'm a traditionalist. So I'm a traditionalist. When I say that, I mean like I do follow my own culture and I do like doing things in my own culture as a Kikuyu or as an African. No, I was not born a traditionalist. Okay, I might say this in a layman's language. Everyone is born a traditionalist, only that we get off the road, off the path as we grow up. I found that I was far much out of being me as a Kikuyu, and I found that there was a lot that was hidden from me that I needed to know. So I had to do my research, and I found out that I was supposed to be, we are supposed to be traditionalists. Everyone is supposed to have a tradition.
So you want to say tradition is spiritual?
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
In 2017, I was in campus actually, so something happened. And this thing was not actually about being a traditionalist and a Christian. It was about my own community. So I was in campus where I felt like there was something that was missing. So I decided to put all my energies with ganging up my own people and maybe talking to them, reminding them who they are, because I could find that most of them were wearing masks. They just wanted to be someone else, okay? So that thing made me want to know more about who I am. Were you born a Muslim?
No, actually I was born a Christian. I went to Sunday school. I felt as if I was missing something. Personally, I didn't enjoy going to church ever since I was a child. And my parents really, they wanted me to actually go to church. Every Sunday it was a rule. You had to go to church.
Like a program.
Yes, and I hated it. But you know, what do? You have to go.
You have to adhere.
I didn't like how I felt as if people were a bit double-sided. Because I felt especially when I was a youth, my group, I felt as if I was a bit put aside because I didn't go to the same schools that they did.
Yeah.
So I used to feel a bit left out, and I didn't like how it felt because, you know, for me, I feel as even as much as you have all those differences, when it comes to something like the church, you need to come together despite
as one.
Yeah, as one, despite your differences. You put those differences behind. So now you have one thing that's going to church and praising God and, you know, all of those things.
So did you find what you are looking for?
Yes, I did. I'm actually very content.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very content. I wouldn't change anything. I wouldn't change this for
But if sometimes maybe along the journey you find that now this is not what I want.
I actually discovered Islam when I was in campus, my second year. I met someone who I got to ask questions. You know, when I was a Christian, I used to hear these negative things about Islam. You know, people say, oh, Islam is like this, Islam is for terrorists, Islam is like this. So I used to think like that until I met a Muslim who was ready to actually teach me. So they opened my eyes and I was like, wow, you mean all this time it was a lie? I
have been a Christian, you have been a Christian.
Yeah.
And all of us seems to have deviated from Christianity.
Yeah.
Do you think that Christianity is connected to spirituality? Okay. And what is your take on the same?
I feel like it is. I feel like Christianity is actually connected to spirituality, in the fact that, in the basis that they believe there is a God, there is one God.
Yes.
Now the problem for me comes in when they talk about the Trinity.
The Trinity,
Yeah.
the Holy Trinity.
Yeah, that's something I've never understood.
God the
You know,
Father.
God the Father, God the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Uh-huh.
So you say there is one God, and then again there is God the Father,
You've
God the Son,
divided.
and God the Holy Spirit. Yeah, that is something I've never understood. But generally, I feel like for any Christian who feels as if there is one God, then yes,
You're good to go.
Yeah. A lot of people relate Islam to terrorism, which I feel is quite unfair, because Islam is not the only religion that Islam is not the only religion that you'll find people who have killed.
Yes.
Even in masses, you'll find them in everyone. Any religion that there has been people perhaps who have killed in masses, who have actually killed. But when it comes to a Muslim, if I personally killed someone today, I'd be called a terrorist.
Yeah.
But if you did, it will be another story. So what stereotypes have you faced as a traditionalist?
I guess the worst of the worst that I've had is people say that being a traditionalist, you are practicing a cult.
Yeah.
Okay, and I am pretty sure that you've seen that. Actually, we get fought so much by other, maybe let me say other religions, but most of it all is the one that people say that when you are a traditionalist, you will always practice FGM. Oh.
Yeah, because I think I've heard of something like that where traditionalists. In the past, people who are traditionalists used to practice FGM.
Yes.
Perhaps they even think even now that's the case.
Yeah, but I don't think so, because actually what I talk about, I try to create awareness of people being who they are.
Okay.
Having your essence back. Just understanding who you are and where you come from. Which roots do you come from? Because at the end of the day, you have where you came from.
Yeah.
You have your own home.
They were quite surprised, first of all, but I think for me, luckily, my dad has been among Muslims before. When he was young. He used to work around Muslims, so he knew about Islam. So he didn't take it negatively. My mom actually didn't even have a problem with it. She was like, you know, you're a grown-up. As long as whatever you're practicing is okay with you, then we don't have a problem. Christianity and Islam do not clash much because there is a lot of similarities.
Yeah.
There is just a slight difference between Christianity and Islam. So that is not a big problem when it comes to relating to each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, when it comes to culture, I've actually had a ratio, the dowry payment, like the one you said about. And for me, I did everything by the book, traditionally, but I didn't take the alcohol.
You didn't take the alcohol?
I didn't take the alcohol because my religion does not allow me.
Take alcohol?
Yes, as a Muslim, I cannot drink alcohol. I cannot buy you alcohol, even if you drink. I cannot process alcohol. So personally, we didn't take alcohol.
That is the only conflict.
That's the only conflict. Also, you know, in my religion, we practice things a bit differently when it comes to dowry payments.
Yeah.
So a Muslim man gives dowry to the wife.
To the wife.
Yes.
Not to the family.
Not to the wife's family. So my husband gave me dowry, and he also took dowry at home, but he took it in form of a gift. Yeah. So to him, it's a gift, not dowry, because dowry was paid to me.
To you.
Yes. What about you? What was the reaction of your parents to you becoming a traditionalist?
Okay, let me start with my dad. He was very receptive. He received me quite well because apparently he's one of the people who have been championing for it, but in silence. But to mom, it was a bit difficult for her because of the stereotype I was talking about.
Yeah.
Because she started thinking that now my son, he will be involved with this and this, FGM and all that. She was dwelling so much on the stereotype back then. But right now, we're on the same page. So I cannot talk about disagreeing, but all I can say is that we need to change. Everyone needs to change. Everyone is bound to change. So, and when change comes, you need to embrace it. What about you?
Personally, there's nothing I feel like I disagree with Islam. I think Islam is perfect. What I think should change is how people practice it. Because mostly, not mostly, Islam comes with, when it comes and gives you, tells you to do a certain thing, it comes with terms of fairness to everyone. So these days, people practice it very wrongly. For example, when it comes to something like polygamy. So you know, for Muslims, a man can marry up to 4 wives. But you don't just wake up and go and marry 4 wives. You have to. There are rules that people should follow. And that's the thing that people these days are ignorant. You find that perhaps on that example, people marry perhaps a second wife and then you neglect the first wife. That is something that's not allowed.
Let me show you something.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about it?
Wait, so if I've seen that video right, it's a woman who has been married by 2 men, right?
Yes.
Well, I feel like that's absurd. How it doesn't make sense to me personally. I feel like
is that something? Is that thing different from what you practice?
It's very different. It's very different.
Very different.
You know, it's in this. How do I phrase it? So when a man marries 4 wives, and this is how you put. I think this is how I can put it in a layman's language.
Yeah.
A man can impregnate 4 women, literally on the same day.
Yeah.
But a woman, what? It's very absurd. I don't even. Okay, I have no words.
Okay, my take is. Personally, I cannot say that this is not acceptable, even in the society. I don't think there is any culture that can practice this one. I don't know what is this actually, because there's no way a woman can have 2 husbands at the same time.
Yeah.
Okay. Because even the nature of a woman, even the nature of let alone the culture, even the nature of a man and the nature of a woman. It doesn't make sense. There's another one here.
Yeah.
Let me show you.
What are the cool people doing nowadays?
Astral projection.
This is beyond me.
What are your thoughts about that video?
First of all, I feel as if that video has a lot that I have actually not gotten. Astral projection, not being a human being, being a vessel.
You mean you didn't understand what she was saying?
I didn't get the full...
the content of the video.
Yeah.
Okay, apparently, the content of the video, this girl tries to say that she's a spiritual being experiencing the physical. Okay, like she's saying that the body is just a vessel that carries her spiritual, the soul and everything. Okay, and the spirit. So that is what basically she's trying to say. And again, when she mentioned about astral projection, I guess according to me, astral projection is where you can meditate as a person. Someone meditates and then maybe they can get into other realms, maybe spiritual realms. Okay, so that's it. That's all about that video. I don't know what's your take about it now that you've gotten the contents.
Personally, perhaps there's people who actually do astral projection. I don't actually know how you can do it. I think the farthest you can go with that personally is through dreams. I don't know about meditation and all, but I feel like when she says, you know, she's a vessel, I feel like all of us, everyone has a soul. I feel like all of us are like that. So you have a soul that is spiritual. So even when you die, your soul gets taken, it gets taken. Still, and then it doesn't die. It doesn't die, but now the body dies. Yes. So that part I think I agree with. But the astral projection, I don't really know. I've never experienced it. Perhaps there are people who have. Personally,
I've never done it like willingly, but it has never happened to me.
So you're meditating and then your soul leaves, or you feel as if
actually you
find yourself in another place.
Yes, you find yourself exploring in other aspects of life. So like in the spiritual, let me say in the spiritual realm, where you can see things differently. You can see what normal eyes cannot see. Okay. Or things that you cannot see with this body, now you get to see them.
So if I may ask, I'm a bit curious, what did you see?
A lot. I cannot just explain here, but there's a lot that you see. Because personally, mine was not something that I planned, something that happened. And maybe just to explain a little bit of it, it happened in this way. I was sleeping, and maybe I was calming my mind. Then out of nowhere, I could see my body floating somewhere. So like I'm floating somewhere, but I can see my body, yes, there in bed. So then I feel like there's a lot of maybe people around me touching and whatever. And then from there, when I came back in the morning, then I found that I had downloaded a lot of information about my own culture. There is yet another one here.
Okay.
Let's see. What's your take on that?
First of all, it's fascinating that you can actually see that amount of change, but I don't think it's something that I can do personally or something that's allowed, especially in my religion, in Islam, basically. It's not something that's allowed to,
basically,
you know, it's changing yourself to look younger.
Yeah.
So what's the point?
Is a video of someone who did facelift procedure, where someone who is older or who looks older, they can fix their skin or their face to look younger. And I guess as a human being, I don't think we need to do that. You don't have to do that. You just need to accept that we've grown with age, because it will still happen. How many times will you do that procedure?
I hear a lot of people actually do it a number of times, because you do it the first time and then it falls back and then you have to do it again.
But now that poses a question of why. What do you think that a person feels like he can do that procedure? What is the reason why? What are your thoughts?
I feel like they do it to feel younger, to look more, perhaps more attractive to people. But I don't see the point why. I don't see why you should do it.
I don't think there is any gains you can get from just facelifting.
Because it's not a deformity. It's not like you have a lump on your face that, you know, you have self-esteem issues and you have to get it removed to fix it. So this is something that is normal, old age. So something that will happen, either you do it or not. Whether you like it or not.
Just see it. According to that video, I've heard you say that it's not allowed in your religion. What is considered as taboo in what you practice in your religion? So
on the same, when it comes, it's not acceptable for you to change yourself to perhaps look better, and it's something as small as cutting your eyebrows. For a woman or a man, you're not supposed to pluck because you are created like that. So you're not allowed to pluck your eyebrows. You're not supposed to change a thing. You're not supposed to change how God made you unless you have something like a deformity. As I was saying, perhaps, you know, there are people who are born with a lump or perhaps a problem with their jaw or eyes. In that case, because, you know, you are going to, it's as if you're not, I don't know what to say, repairing, but you're trying to at least make yourself. She's trying to fix her self-esteem. No, for her, she's trying to fix old age. Everyone gets old age. That's not a deformity. Yeah, but for something like perhaps you have eyesight problems, and there is a way to fix your eyesight so that it comes back, then that is allowed. But something like old age is something natural. Something natural. Yeah, it's so not allowed. I don't think it's allowed. Okay, yeah. I guess so. Same as ours. I don't think you're supposed to change a thing about how you were born, unless something that is very crucial. Something like that affects your life, like having a hand back, maybe. But I don't think that is acceptable. What taboos do you have as in your traditions? I guess the one of the taboos that we have is that we don't accept a family member marrying another family member, even in clan basis. So a clan is where you have a great grandfather that you've come from. So anyone who have come from that lineage of that great grandfather, they cannot marry each other. And I hear that Muslim they do practice even cousin to cousin. Yeah, you can marry your cousin. What is the reason behind that? It's mostly because of issues with inheritance. So when perhaps I marry my cousin, the inheritance it still remains in the family.
I'm supposed to go to ask for permission to get circumcised from my mom's brother. Okay?
Okay.
As a man, I'm supposed to go and ask for permission to be circumcised. Okay? From a brother, the eldest brother, to my mom. So how do we go about it? So I go with maybe 5 rams or five sheep or goats. I give to him, and there are some other more things that I go with. But basically, what happens after I give that to him, he doesn't keep them for himself. So what happens is, after they multiply, he takes the 5 and pass it on to the other brother.
Oh, okay.
So you see, now there's wealth multiplication within that, and that is only me. So count my brothers. So by the time that my last brother is going to ask for permission, those people will have had a herd of sheep or whatever.
When it comes to inheritance, perhaps you have a family, you have a wife, you have a child. There's a percentage that every person gets. So you don't just write a will and say that all my money I'm leaving it to my wife.
This person,
yeah. Everyone gets
portion.
an equal share, not an equal share, but everyone gets a percentage. There's a percentage that your wife will get. There's a percentage that your children will get. Even your brothers, they'll get a percentage of your wealth.
Oh wow, interesting.
Yeah, it's not, you can't, in Islam you can't leave a will and say that I'm leaving this money to a certain person.
To a certain person.
That's not how it goes.
Oh.
So for a man, when you leave, perhaps you have 1 million shillings, everyone will, your wife will get a certain percentage. So will your children, so will your siblings. That's how it works. So that everyone gets a portion of it.
Angawacha hatuhesabu watoto, lakini niko na watoto more than 100.
Did you get what he was saying?
Yeah.
How can you say about that?
Well, he has a lot of vibes. I feel like if he's able to be equal with all of them, if he's able to provide for them evenly, if he doesn't have discrimination, I don't see the problem with that.
I guess he has just explained that he have taken care of each one of them.
Yeah.
And there's something that captured my mind, and from that video, he said that we don't count children. I don't know whether you captured that.
Oh, no, I didn't.
He said, I guess he was talking about it is more of cultural, their traditions, that they believe that you are supposed to count children. And I feel a similarity. I guess he's a lawyer. I feel this. I can see the similarity between them and us.
Okay.
We don't necessarily count kids and maybe cattle, sheep, goats. You don't say the actual.
Why not?
I guess the reason behind they say is that it's like you're limiting yourself from getting more.
Okay.
It's something feels like spiritual in a way. That you are limiting yourself from getting much more. Now that we've talked about children, would you give your children the freedom to choose whatever they want to believe in?
I feel like a child is usually under your care until they are an adult. So in that time that they'll be under my care, I'll teach them Islam. I'll teach them Islam in depth as much as I can. And then now when they are adults and perhaps they want to explore, perhaps they want to search for other religions, that is, they are already adults. There's no way you're going to force her or him to stick to it. Yeah, that is their life. If they choose that path for themselves, then that's okay.
Okay.
How about you?
I guess about me, I would let them be. Even in their first stages of life, I would let them to express themselves as they
explore,
want.
yeah.
Yes, express and explore as far as they can. So maybe I would teach what I know. I would teach as a parent, I would teach them I'll tell them what I believe in, my belief system. I would tell them the others. I'll tell them this is what this does, this is what I do, and now from there it's up to you to choose which one is better. When I know what I want, I'll go for what I think is what I want.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's all about the difficulties. It's all about me as a person. What do I want? Who is this kind of a person I would like to have?
So do you think your culture or religion conflicts with the modern life, the modern times?
All I can say is about understanding. Understanding, when I say understanding, is understanding everything into details. Like, why were we doing this? Why are our forefathers doing things this way? Why did they do this? Why? And because time has changed, what have changed from that?
I feel like it kind of conflicts on my part.
What is that one thing that is about your religion that is different from the rest?
I feel for one is modesty. We believe in dressing modestly, not showing your body to exposing yourself to other people. It's a form of self-respect, dignity. It's the same way the way you look at me is not the same way you look at someone else, someone who is, you know, not covered up.
Yeah.
So I feel something that makes us stand out is modesty.
Wow.
Yeah.
You will find us. We will take alcohol to bless, but other religions will see alcohol as a different thing.
Yeah.
So that difference, I guess, that is what I can say, that it's different from the others.
So generally, I feel I've actually learned a lot from you. In that, first of all, we come from the same culture.
Yeah.
So I feel like there's a lot I didn't know about my culture that I've actually learned right now. And personally, I'll still stick with what I stand for. I feel like for me, my religion first comes and then traditions follow.
Okay, me too. I've learned so much. There are things that I didn't know. And for example, about cousin to cousins, I didn't know the reason why. I didn't know. So I've learned about that. At least if someone asked me about, at least I have something to say. Thank you guys for watching. This is Mwangi Maina here. You can only find me on TikTok at Mwangi Maina or at Mwangi wa Maina. You'll find me there. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. This is Hafsa Abdullahi. You can find me on TikTok and Instagram as Hafsa Abdullahi J. Please watch, share, subscribe. Bye.
Bye.